politics.
Welcome back to the news at 10. The controversy over the alleged padding of the 2016 budget has simply refused to go away, with the body of principal officers of the House of Representatives also wading into the matter. A statement issued by the leaders of the lower chamber today described the allegations made by the sacked chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin, as wild, baseless and unfounded. Part of the statement reads, quote, "The decision to relieve the erstwhile appropriation chairman of his position was a collective one of the leadership in response to unrelenting pressures from the overwhelming majority of honourable members who were irked by the former chairman's gross abuse of the budget process." End of quote. Now, even as the principal officers dismiss Honourable Jibrin's allegation, the petitioner is not relenting in the series of allegations levelled against the leadership of the House. And just like the leaders of the lower chamber, the lawmaker is sticking to his guns, saying that he stands by his accusations and there is no going back. Honourable Jibrin says, quote, "For the avoidance of doubt, let me restate that I've interacted severally with anti-corruption agencies. It's, however, heartwarming to know that they are indeed working meticulously on the matter. I have little doubt that they'll do justice expeditiously, and sooner than later will get to the point every Nigerian is waiting for." End of quote. Residents in Apapa have appealed to the federal government to quickly implement the Apapa regeneration plan. The plan, which is contained in a study conducted in 2012, aims to restore the glory of the area. Tonight, our big story examines the plight of residents in that area over the activities of truck drivers and managers of tank farms.
Apapa in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, is one of the 20 local governments in Lagos and foremost for being the community housing the nation's premier port. Lying at the mouth of the Lagos Lagoon, the number of commercial enterprises include container terminal, flour mill factories, tank farms, and other business concerns. Owing to the tons of dry and wet cargo from the port, Apapa community has also been described as a port community. Years went by and the serenity of the entire place gradually went into ruins, largely because it became a hell of a challenge living the environment.
The problem is not even about the volume of goods coming in. I don't think Apapa is too small to handle the level of economic activities that are taking place there. I think the problem majorly is our planlessness as a nation.
The Tinkan Maitu axis is a no-go area as trucks have completely blocked every entrance, using it as a parking lot, thereby constituting a monumental traffic gridlock. Apapa Ijara via the bridge became the only available passage in and out for both residents and goods leaving the ports. It also meant that this bridge had to be subjected to per second burden of heavy axle loads.
Like getting to work, I have to leave like as early as 5:30, and especially this road here. There's the one here and the other one here. Both roads are really terrible, and even when coming in the evening, sometimes traffic is crazy, and they rob us in traffic too.
Days to weeks, weeks to months, and sadly for over 3 decades, no maintenance happened on this bridge. Some months back, as expected, it began to cave in with the holding bars protruding, expansion joints loosening out, and some surface of the bridge completely washed off.
That this is a result of many years of bad choices. In the past, you recall I went there as governor. We went to remove people who chose to set up businesses under our bridges. They were selling fuel there. But we were the bad guys then. We didn't like the poor. We didn't like the poor. But the truth is that, look, we must have a society where laws are laws. And I don't know any society where people trade under the bridge. Because that bridge didn't just fail. It was many, many years of fires that we put out and all of that. So we will fix it.
There are various study reports on how to restore Apapa Central Business District and residential area. Notably is the 2012 Joint Committee between the federal government and state government. Well, for what has happened to that report, your guess will be as good as mine.
They need to recover Apapa. National assets are wasting here. People's property are wasting here. They can't get the value of their property, you see, government does not share money. What government does is to build roads. Once they build roads, create infrastructure. If a house is being sold for 10 million, it will be 20 million. That's how government puts money in the pocket of people.
Channels Television can tell you, and gladly so, that the most critical visible part of this bridge that troubled the hearts of people week on week out because of the sinking hole that it had in the middle has been covered. And that means that effectively rehabilitation work has started on the Apapa Viaduct Bridge. And if you look 50 meters down the road, you will, on the bridge, I should say, you will see that bitumen spray has already happened. Over the next 1 week, work is expected to complete on this bridge, temporarily talking about just the rehabilitation. Then it will be open to light traffic from Lagos, Apapa precisely. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Let's take a look at some business news now. Here's Emana Amawe.
Thank you, Joma. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's currency reserves dropped by 2.11% to $25.78 billion as of Tuesday this week. A Reuters news agency report on Thursday quotes the central bank data saying steady dollar sales or intervention support of the new flexible interbank market is impacting the country's forex reserves portfolio. The naira breached 365.25 against the dollar in a single $1 million interbank spot transaction. Interbank trading reportedly started 2 hours after market open, with naira offering sharply lower against the dollar. $13 million was traded as at midday. And the 2016 edition of the World Pension Summit, called Africa Special, is set to hold for the third consecutive time in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. The Director General of the Pension Commission, Ms. Chinelo Anohu-Amazu, made the announcement on Thursday in company of the founders of the summit in Lagos.
Last year, the World Pension Summit was tagged Sustainable Pension System in Africa. The meeting was a huge success of pension regulators and operators, as well as business and finance experts across the continent. The meeting provided insights on the use of pension assets for infrastructure deficits in Africa, asset securitization, among others. For 2016, the annual summit, scheduled for September the 27th and 28th, is tagged Pension Innovations, the African Perspective.
It is expected that this year's summit will again bring together professionals and highly experienced resources from across the world in the areas of investment, actuarial science, insurance, coverage, extension, and other pension-related fields.
Jointly organized with the exponents of the yearly event, Nigeria's capacity to host the third session in a row is attributed to the rights it retains and the growth of the domestic pension industry.
There's always something new to address in terms of developments and innovations, and we see this around the world. You have changes in regulation, you have changes in global economic situations that have an impact locally, country by country.
Because you need an actual valuation to determine a whole gamut of things. And the reason for it playing a huge part in this year's summit is that it's one area that is often overlooked, and yet it's very key because it's one area that is largely dependent on data.
We need Africa to stand firm with all the countries that are involved in developing their pension systems and learning from each other and being inspired by how to do it and to do it in a right, transparent way.
With more delegates expected this year, the summit will also feature the second edition of Africa Pension Awards, which aims to reward excellence and sustain innovation in the sector.
The local stock market tilted to negative territory today after 3 days of recovery. Let's join Millicent Walker for details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. The Nigeria stock market fell at the close of Thursday's trading session as investors took advantage of the three-day consecutive recovery to reap profits. As a result, the all-share index dropped by 0.06% to 27,420.99, while total market value went down by about 10 billion naira. Turnover was, however, moderate, with 313.27 million shares worth 297.47 billion naira traded in 2,833 transactions. Much of that volume came from UBA, which recorded over 120.73 million shares on the activity chart. Now, on the price table, NEM Insurance, Eternal Oil and Livestock Feeds led 13 other gainers, while UAC Property, Union Bank and Transcore were the top losers from a list of 18. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Millicent Walker.
Thank you, Millicent. Let's flip over to the global markets, where most stocks ended in mixed sentiments. And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Imana Amawe. It's back to Ijoma.
Thanks, Imana. Now, one of Nigeria's leading consulting firms, Akintola Williams Deloitte, has come out with a sector-wide position paper on the ailing Nigerian economy, with a focus on micro, small and medium-scale enterprises, MSMEs, that is. At the presentation of the paper into the Nigerian Association of MSMEs, the management of the firm called for a policy revision and a friendly tax regime.
The management team of Akintola Williams Deloitte, members of the Nigerian Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, NASME, stakeholders from the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, as well as other business policy advocates, are here to chart a course for the future and stability of small businesses in Nigeria.
I see him stand up and speak, I feel rejuvenated.
After much deliberations, Akintola Williams Deloitte presents its position paper to the management of NASME. Akintola Williams Deloitte says part of its recommendations are solutions to the challenges faced by MSMEs in Nigeria, bridging tax regulatory gaps, and a favorable fiscal policy from the federal government.
The big boys are the ones controlling the marketplace. The small business always have it as a challenge to penetrate the market. So if anything government can do to alleviate the constraints for SMEs to access the market, is very welcome. Also, capacity building is another issue, because most SMEs are not properly structured as it were, and they will need the support of government agencies, to build capacity.
And not quite satisfied, they ask for more.
You can also look at amnesty in terms of waivers, waiving penalties and interest. So you only limit the taxpayer to making payment on the principal tax liability across a defined period of time. That is what the tax amnesty that we are advocating is about.
Invariably, Nigeria's economy is largely driven by MSMEs. And with about 96% of businesses falling under this category, players in this industry can be optimistic that policymakers will give some attention to the needs of this critical sector.